heavy Pakistani
Live,
shells
serious Indian strikes on Pakistan.
which India says killed between 10 and
Aggressive
15
attack.
people. Delhi had been promising this response after a mass shooting in India.
Important news video, UK 2025.
25 tourists
UK
and a local
2025.
Kashmiri, a Muslim, were
10
killed
o'clock
by
news this is.
unidentified
Using news
gunmen.
right now.
India blames Pakistan for that shooting. Pakistan denies
It's the 7th of
any
May.
involvement. Kashmir
Wednesday
is
evening,
claimed
guys,
in full by both
2025.
India and Pakistan, but it is divided into two parts by the line of control.
It's been going since 1947, this has.
Since independence from Britain and partition in 1947, the two nuclear powers have fought several wars over Kashmir, and there have been many serious...
If the Russians get involved,
but this is the worst flare-up
the Americans
we've
get
seen
involved, it'd
in
be
some
World War
20
III
years.
probably.
Tonight we'll be reporting...
I don't think they will, but who knows?
We'll hear shortly from...
This is my opinion at the end of the day.
...to one of the targeted sites, but our first
But don't
report
fight
comes from Samira Hussain.
in the UK if you live here and you're part of that country,
The
please.
smouldering remains
Stay
of a
calm,
home.
be neutral, each other, be friends.
Shell casings from last night's gunfire, mixed with broken bits of people's lives. Villages like Salamabad, along the line of control in Indian-administered Kashmir, pounded overnight into the morning, as India and Pakistan exchanged artillery fire, reporting dozens of casualties on both sides. Many of the injured residents from Salamabad were brought to this nearby hospital. One of the burned down homes we saw earlier belonged to Badruddin Naik and his family.
Me and my children had barely enough time to run after two Pakistani shells landed in the middle of our home. You've seen our loss. We have nothing left.
India under pressure domestically to respond to last month's attack when gunmen opened fire on tourists in Indian-administered Kashmir. 26 people died. The deadliest attack on civilians in recent years.
Bloody hell.
India blaming militants operating in Pakistan, an
Basically
allegation
terrorists.
Pakistan denies.
India exercised its right to respond and preempt, as well as deter
This is
more
war, mate.
cross-border attacks.
This is war, guys.
These actions were measured.
They've got nuclear weapons, this is why I'm thinking nuclear World War III maybe, I'm not sure.
And this was the response.
Okay, not the state of the art nuclear
India
weapons.
says it targeted and destroyed
Still quite
9
worrying,
militant
though.
training camps operating in Pakistan-administered
We
Kashmir.
don't want this going on in the world globally. This is bad conflict. We don't want this conflict. This is us to Ukraine anymore
Pakistan
with
says
Russia.
dozens of civilians were killed in those attacks.
Well, wasn't a conflict.
Calling the military
World War
action
III.
an act of war, it is vowing retaliation.
Pakistan reserves the right and will respond to this aggression at a time, place, and means of our own choice.
Oh dear.
As border towns and villages like Salamabad lay abandoned, people in the region are left hoping that this brings recent tensions to an end and not merely the beginning of a longer and more protracted conflict. Samira Hussain, BBC
This is hot news,
New
guys. This is serious news from last night. I'm not
The
joking.
Pakistani government say there were 57 commercial planes in their airspace when the Indians began the operation.
Contact the right side screen, please.
They've accused India of putting civilian lives at risk. They also claim the Pakistani Air Force shot down several of the Indian jets. These red squares are the strike locations that BBC Verify has identified at several sites inside Pakistan and within Pakistan-administered Kashmir. Our correspondent Azadeh Moshiri has been escorted by the military to the scene of one of those airstrikes in the city of Muzaffarabad, close to the line of control, from where she sent this report.
The military took us to Pakistan-administered Kashmir in armoured vehicles. India says it targeted terrorist infrastructure based on credible intelligence.
You may not be able to tell, but this was a place of prayer. And if you look a little higher, you'll see there's still smoke on top of this mosque. Pakistan says this was one of the targets of India's airstrikes. And it's sites like these and the fact that India has struck not only in Pakistan-administered Kashmir, but also in the province of Punjab, that has communities here so shocked.
This man was living next door to the mosque. His daughter was sleeping inside when the strike hit.
My daughter was sleeping here. That's where she got injured. Modi created this propaganda that terrorists live here.
Pakistan insists India's strikes were unprovoked and that it was not involved in the attack in Pahalgam. How it responds could determine whether this escalates into a bigger conflict. Asde Mashiri, BBC News, Pakistan-administered Kashmir.
The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, said the rising tensions over Kashmir will be of serious concern to all communities in Britain. Like others, he is encouraging dialogue and de-escalation. Our diplomatic correspondent James Lambert.
What a shambles. These people really shouldn't fight each other. They should be friends with each other.
In these circumstances,
This is terrible. It's been going since 1947 though.
leads to an escalation neither side can
Not again. Here we go again.
What is asking tonight is how does Pakistan respond, and what response does it
brutal,
feel
probably.
from the Indians? The question, of course, is whether they can control what's called this escalatory ladder. Both sides seem to think they can. They both seem to be saying, well, we're being measured, we're being non-escalatory.
Okay.
The risk, though, is one that the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, and others have pointed out today, which is one of miscalculation. Because if that happens, there is a risk this spirals out of control, and then you end up with a regional conflict, maybe a proxy conflict with allies piling in on both sides, or even worse. Remember, we are talking about two countries that possess nuclear weapons, at odds over one of those militarized regions in the world. And there are two other factors making this harder. One is you've got two wars already in the Middle East and Ukraine. That is distracting the international community. Most leaders today would say, well, you know, they're pleading for restraint. And
like I said.
And secondly, you've got the United States seemingly unwilling to engage diplomatically. Normally they've played a mediating, restraining role in this conflict. As you said, President Trump tonight said merely, and I quote, "If there's anything I can do to help, I'll be there." It's not exactly proactive diplomacy. So you've got a distracted international community.
He doesn't want to fight, does he? He's a peaceful man.
Rising nationalist rhetoric from both sides. So it's clearly a very, very serious situation, and the stakes are high. James Lambert, thank you.
Thanks, guys, to share on Signed Evans.